Alfred.
We're Black Dice Gaming. It's time to get to the nitty-gritty and talk about spells. Now, just to let you know a little bit about how the spell casting for a bard is, it's using charisma.
Yeah.
It's your good looks. Your devilishly good looks. So, whenever you're trying to basically do your add up for your spell casting ability, that is your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus. It is the same or very similar when you're doing your DC check. That is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your spell casting ability, in this case, charisma. So that is how you kind of do those calculations for that. Those are to basically be able to cast your spells and to have those saves being made or failed. So we're going to talk about our favorites. And we'll start off with cantrips. We'll go all the way to 9th. Mind you, we're not going to tell all of it because that's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to get into, but I think generally, what are your thoughts on the bard spell list?
I think it's great. To be honest, it's like there's a lot of good role-playing opportunity.
There's just a lot of stuff in general in there. I mean, you know, this really is, you're pulling from almost every single sorcery, you know, school. You have, I mean, you can deal damage, you can control, you can obfuscate, you can heal, you can just do so much.
Yeah, so much utility.
I mean, it really is hard to choose, I think, sometimes, you know? You gotta really narrow down on what kind of bard you're trying to be.
So it's like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, that's, you know, kind of the theme for the class, I think.
Yeah. And know everything, do everything, and yet be devilishly awesome at the same time.
You know, can do it all in style.
So, one of the things that I noticed when I was doing looking at the cantrips is Blade Ward. That right there is an amazing spell.
Yeah, resistance to most of the common damage that you're going to run into. I mean, especially for, maybe not at later levels and stuff, but for a solid chunk of your game, and I mean, even still well into late levels, you know, maybe not the boss, but as goons, you know, are still going to have swords, so...
Yeah, so that basically takes care of bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing, which is great.
Yeah. I think one of my big favorites is Dancing Lights. So it's just, I mean, beyond the obvious role-playing ability that you can have with it, you can have them appear in a bunch of different forms, you know, jack-o'-lanterns, flaming skulls, all kinds of stuff, you know, hearts, whatever. But I think, you know, just utility-wise, having that as a bonus action every round, you can have those things move 60 feet and just have them flying around the battlefield and dungeons, you know, in people's faces being annoying. Like, it's...
Oh, yeah.
Just so many opportunities to use that thing. I really like it.
One of the things I like, and I think I've mentioned to you before, is that role-playing ability. You know, you're on stage, you're brandishing your axe, you're doing a great show, and all of a sudden the lights effects come out, and it's great.
Yeah, I don't know how other bards are playing, but for me personally, that's always a big, like, back in the back of my mind, like, how can I use this spell if I was actually, like, gonna throw a show or something, you know?
Right. Do it like a rock star.
Well, he's got a lot of good spells for that kind of ability, so.
So the next one that I noticed is Mage Hand. And Mage Hand is awesome.
I mean, it's a classic.
Not just that, but I don't know if you've even looked into the Curses Strahd campaign, and it's hilarious, but they actually changed the Mage Hand to where instead of it looking like a spectral hand, it ends up looking like a skeletal hand. So I love that. I would like to add that anywhere, really.
Yeah,
that sounds like
that's
fun.
That's a nice little flavor addition for sure. So, I mean, I think that about covers it for, you know, the cantrips. There's, I mean, there really is just a lot of good cantrips that they can get to, and the cool thing about bards is that you can continually switch these spells out, you know? So you just have to switch the spells out whenever you...
Actually, unfortunately, those are spells known, so yeah, you can switch them out, but only when you change level.
Yeah, only when you change level, yeah. But, so when you are done leveling, you can't change them out anymore. But until then, I mean... But it's nice, though, because you have a lot of spells, and maybe this, as you level up, well, this one spell's really not cutting it for you anymore, and you just want to get rid of it.
Ditch it.
That is one of the really nice abilities that the bard brings, you know?
Yeah, ditch it like the ugly prom date.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love that. But For level 1, I mean, for me, I think Unseen Servant, especially as a bard, who else is going to play all these instruments? Not me.
Not just that, but Acquisitions Incorporated actually used a way to put like a cloak on top of it, like a velvet cloak, and they made it the softest ghost.
Oh, that's fine.
I think it's great. I think I don't see that there's a reason that you can't do that. So it'd be kind of neat. You could make like a little ghost. It's walking around. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I suppose.
And I'm talking like old school horrible ghost in the 80s.
Yeah, like the
sheets,
bed sheet and everything, for sure. ET style.
Right. So, Tasha's hideous laughter is one that I liked, and you kind of ridiculed me a little bit. That's okay. We all have our loves. See, Tasha's hideous laughter works. So basically what this does, it makes the enemy in the battlefield go prone and start laughing hysterically. If your other characters in your team guard or go around him and attack at the last moment, you now have 3 attacks with advantage on your prone opponent. Not so bad anymore, is it?
I mean, potentially we got like one guy left,
True. But if it's the
I don't know why it's so hilarious that all his friends were dying, but apparently.
Right. If it's the general, could you imagine if the big bad, or like the bad guy, is surrounded by his underlings, and then he starts falling and laughing, and his people are dying, he's still laughing hysterically. I think that'll mess up morale.
Maybe, if there's anyone even left. Then the other one that we have here for level 1, Bane. I mean, it's another classic, I think.
Oh, that's a wonderful one. It's like, Bless gives people +4s, Bane's gives your enemy negatives. So that is fantastic.
Yeah, I think that pairs really well with the College of Eloquence too, just another debuff for your enemies.
Another way to mess your enemies up.
Yeah, it's rough. So for level 2 here, we have, for me, I think one of my faves, Pyrotechnics, just into that theme of, the entertainer and stuff, but really not even from an entertainment perspective, but just from a pure power perspective. I think the fact that it is a spell that gives you 2 different abilities to it is really powerful.
So you're really trying to go rockstar on this with the dancing lights.
I mean, you should be a rockstar. You should be going all out with this, I think. But also, the fact that the lights can be blinding people. You also create a huge smoke cloud. So, I mean, you can use this for, for retreat or something. I mean, like just do your ninja smoke bomb and get out of there. Why not?
Heat Metal is probably one of the most devastating 2nd level spells you can have. And I'll tell you right now, it is beautiful. All you have to do is Heat Metal. There is no save. And armor is made out of metal.
I mean, there are just so many things that are made out of metal.
It takes 10 minutes to take armor off.
Yeah, it's rough.
You're never going to get it off in enough time.
I think it's a spell that really is, a little bit underappreciated sometimes.
Or even DM's worst enemy. I mean, really. You can literally kill the big bad by just wiggling your fingers out of him and he is metal. That hurts. Another one that we saw that was really kind of cool was Knock. And Knock is great because it's like, okay, we don't have a rogue, so no one has thieves tools. We don't know how to get into the door, and we don't have anyone who's strong enough to bash the door down. Well, all you have to do is knock on the door, take a magic word, and gone.
Yeah, I mean, just another great, utility spell for the bard. Just par for the course here.
Swiss Army knife.
So as we get to level 3 here, I think Glyph of Warding for me, one of the just best utility spells in the game, really. There's just so many applications and abilities that you can draw onto this thing.
Oh yeah.
Especially since you have all these different tools and spells at your disposal. So, especially once we get into the higher levels, some of the stuff that you can throw on that glyph, yikes.
I would definitely look forward to seeing that one. One that I really liked was Leomund's Tiny Hut. Now, this is great if you're out and you need a safe place to stay. It creates a force field that allows you and your party to stay in there safely for 8 hours. That's great. Do not use it in a dungeon. Do you really want your big bad to heal up and get reserves.
Yeah, maybe not the best idea, but
I've seen people try.
yeah, that seems baffling.
As a DM, I think that's great because it gives me all the time in the world to just surround them with enemies.
Yeah, I guess. So for the other one we had here, Dispel Magic, I think that's really, I mean, obviously, just so much utility there that you can do.
Yeah, it's like magic thing happens. Not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, just Bard doing it all.
Mm-hmm. Freedom of movement when we go to number 4 is probably a really good one, especially if you want to be a utility bard. Fighter going into the field. Oh, but the druid has put thorns. Not anymore. Freedom of movement. Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really big one for augmenting some of the offensive power of your team, especially as you get into later levels and a lot of that stuff becomes, you know, so common.
It takes all that difficult terrain and throws it out the window.
Yep. Yeah, another big one for me, Dimension Door. Really love Dimension Door. It's just, I mean, it's a decent range teleport, pseudo teleport, not a true teleport. You know, you got to be able to see, but still, hundreds of feet.
That's a great get out of jail.
Hundreds of feet, instantaneous, and you can bring at least one person with you.
And think about it. A bard usually ends up either in a bad situation at a bar or in jail. Jail cells have windows. That dimension door works because you can see out the window.
Yeah, if you get a little bit too frisky with Baron's daughter, this might be a useful spell to know.
Yeah, so just remember that, guys. The next one is hallucinatory terrain. Now this is amazing. You creating a terrain that people think absolutely exists. And even when they pass through it or fall from it, they will actually mentally block it and create a reason for it. Which means if you create a bridge over a chasm of hallucinatory terrain and they fell off and they somehow survived, they will go, oh, I must just not have stepped on the bridge right and fell off.
Yeah, you know, it happens sometimes, I guess.
That's brilliant.
So level 5 here, I think is where we really start to get into some of the juicy spells here. I mean, and Bard really gets to access to some just crazy high level spells here.
Beautiful stuff.
I mean, this is not even in addition to your, you know, your lore stuff that you can grab, right?
That's where things get crazy because you can add. Just remember, if it's not the same thing, you can always stack it, unless it says otherwise.
Well, I mean, here for me, I think planar binding just really so disgusting as we get into those higher levels and you start running into a lot of these more powerful deities.
Oh yeah, fays and demons. You can just go, hey, you're mine now. Wow. Mass Cure Wounds. I'm usually not a huge fan of Cure Wounds, but when you're sitting in Liamin's tiny hut and go, hey, guys, you know, we don't really need a long rest, but how about I just say a magic word and everybody's fine?
Yeah, you couple that with Song of Restoration, that's just a ton of healing in a very short amount of time. Exactly.
Right, which means the Warlock can get his short rest, and as long as you don't have anything else that's needing a long rest, you're good.
No.
Another one was Teleportation Circle.
Yeah, I think Teleportation Circle, really great one.
Yeah, he mentioned that to me, and I was like, yeah, that's something we need to at least talk
I mean,
about.
you need a little bit of a setup, and maybe you switch out Dimension Door for it, you know, at some point when you get to this level. Maybe, depending.
But I mean, Teleportation Circle is not that bad.
No, I think Dimension Door still provides a different enough angle that you maybe want both of them, but yeah, Teleportation Circle, really useful spell. But I mean, level 5 just has so many, it was so hard for us to pick here.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many wizards in their towers actually have Teleportation Circle. So if your big bad's a wizard, he might actually have one on in his area.
No.
So on sixth level, I kind of went with Odo's Irresistible Dance. Now this goes back to the whole Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Sorry, I kind of like the whole idea that the monster or enemy can't do anything. So basically, as long as you're playing the fiddle, the devil has to start dancing, and he doesn't have anything to do. After it's all over, he can give you the fiddle of gold if he's still around.
For me, my spell, really like iBite, and I just can't believe that bards finally get access to this. It's a really great spell, and just for me, these multi-faceted spells where you get different options for it, I really love those things, man. Just giving me more and more options and more choices, absolutely love it.
Oh yeah. And just so you guys know, and I know that some of you are new, but people who have been in this a while, you know that in 3.5 and 3.0, it was only available to evil people. So, nice.
Yeah, so for level 7 here, I think Force Cage, for me, just I mean, your enemy has to be really large to not fit inside this thing, 20 feet, it's just, I really love Force Cage. It's a great ability.
I dealt with this as a DM, and someone made Force Cage as a cage, and the person polymorphed into a fly, got out of the cage. So then they made it into a solid.
That's what they get for being cute.
Yeah. So that kind of sucks.
Yep.
So think about that, guys. Make sure you use it correctly.
Yeah, he doesn't need oxygen. Just keep it closed.
Yeah. My favorite is Mordecaiden's Magnificent Mansion. It's like, wait, you're telling me I can have all the luxury I want for 24 hours? Done. That's a win.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty high level spell slot to have a house that you can pop up, but it's a nice house at least.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
It is a nice house. So, yeah, for level 8, I think for me, Dominate Monster. Love it. I mean, this is just a very common theme for the Bard, right? Bewitching people, bending, whether it's, planar entities or monsters, people, maidens, whatever.
Oh yeah, everything. My favorite was Mind Blank. And a lot of people think you can actually, dumb or stupefy other people. No, this is for you. You're basically unable to be hit by psychic damage. Anyone who tries to read your mind hears wah 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 wah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, immune to clairvoyance effects, all types of stuff.
Scrying.
Yeah.
Anything that would have them psychically get you fails.
Yeah, which, as we get some psychic options here pretty soon, will be maybe a bigger deal.
Yeah, keep your eyes up for Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. It's going to be amazing.
And I mean,
now we get to the big dogs.
Indeed, the level 9. So they have some just crazy good options.
What would you think? I have to know.
We're gonna have some power words here. Mine's power word kill.
Wow, look at that. Power word kill. See, this shows how good of a person I am. I chose power word heal.
I mean, that's fine. That's okay, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, boop, you're good. It's great. In fact,
I mean, there's just something about, striking up a little song and having someone's throat, get slit and
just drops.
bleed out.
It's like, I don't know what happened.
Weird.
Yeah, I had one person that played a game and actually has this 9th level spell, use power word heal, booped the person on the nose and said boop. That was his magic word. That was his power word. Boop.
All the words to use.
I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. Yes. So guys, that's basically our small, short pick on the spells that are located. I'll tell you right now, there's tons of spells for the Bard.
Really, so many. I mean, we barely scratched the surface here.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you right now, leave in the comments your favorite spell. I mean, sure, this is our point of view, but you might find something that you like better. Tell us. Yeah, we'll love to hear from it. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. Catch us on Patreon. Get onto that Discord so that we can actually contact and talk to you guys and give you all the information that we can. We would love to build a strong community of gamers. So please feel free to do that as well. Also, take a look at us on Instagram. I think I've forgotten to mention that a few times, but it'd be kind of cool.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. So he's Tony.
And he's Alfred.
Happy trails.
trails.